Hey everybody, Aletha here. I have the greatest pleasure to be with yet another agent of change, Jennifer Michelle. Jennifer and I met in a class, and you know me, when I have these conscious mindset talks, I find these agents of change who are doing great things for the community and as well as for the world. So Jennifer is one of those agents of change. So without further ado, I want Jennifer to tell us a little bit about herself. So welcome, Jennifer, and thank you for joining me for Conscious Mindset Chat with Aletha.
Hi, Aletha. Thank you for having me. I'm so excited. First of all, thank you for um, inviting me into your sacred space and with your audience, because I know we don't take it lightly who we introduce our people to. My name is Jennifer Michelle. Everyone knows me as Jennifer Michelle. I'm the founder of Culture Queens Outdoors, and I love all things arts and culture. I love all things outdoors. And I specifically love creating opportunities for women of color to come together and sit outside and have a safe space, a community where we can, one, relax, release, laugh, dance, whatever it is we need to do to cleanse ourselves. That's what we do. If
Mm,
it's expressing our art love, if it's expressing our love for art through dance, we have
mhm,
ladies who will dance and we have ladies who sing. Our art is
mhm.
expressed through fashion, it's expressed through worship. I mean,
Yeah.
we love art and we love creating a community where everyone feels supported. I honor my space with these ladies, and they know that when they come with me, they are protected, they are safe, and they have the freedom to be who they authentically are. I tell
Wow.
everyone I meet, be you. I
Yeah.
just want you to be you, because so often we have to put on masks, we have to cover up and pretend. So I create a space where they can just be.
Yeah. So Jennifer, you said so many powerful things, and as you were saying, you know how if you are in tune with your intuition, you get goosebumps, right?
Hmm.
So as you were talking, several things cause goosebumps, and maybe I'm just cold because I need to wear something over my shoulder.
No.
No, you said several things. A safe space. For you, Jennifer, why is it so important to create that safe space, and what does that safe space look like for you?
Oh, that's a great question.
Yeah.
For me, what is a safe space? A safe space is where I can go and I can be vulnerable, and that the people that are in that space with me also know and understand that being vulnerable is actually strength. It takes courage to be vulnerable.
Mhm.
So I create and I want to be in spaces where if I just need to sit there and cry and have a moment because life has been challenging,
Mm,
or things just weren't going the way that I needed them to go, or if I just wanted to get away from doing all the things I do, I can go, I can sit there, no makeup, no hair done. I don't have to
mm,
look like the model, the actress. I don't have to look like the author or have every word
mhm.
perfect. I can just be. I
Right.
can be still. I can be goofy.
Mhm.
I can be, and I can not worry about, I don't worry about judgment. That's a safe space to me.
Yeah, and when we create these spaces as facilitators, we are setting a standard. We're
Mhm.
setting boundaries, healthy boundaries, clearly communicated to everyone. And if no one is in agreement with with these boundaries, then they have to leave, right? So what Jennifer is talking about is when we create these spaces, there are healthy relational boundaries between everyone that must be respected by all. And it's an agreement that when we come into that space, that it's okay to be vulnerable, and we need to be shed our mask and be authentically who we are, because when we're in that space, guess what happens? Our creativity expands. It quantifies in a field that's bigger than we are, bigger than our brain's capacity, because now we're sharing space with each other. And so you said another thing, You said another thing that's really important, Jennifer. You talked about cleansing. And so, what happens when we are in our creative space is we are able to cleanse our energy of negative things that are showing up in our minds and our bodies and our spirits. What do you think about that version of cleansing?
Oh, I love that version of cleansing. And so there are two things that come to mind for me. Well, actually now three again, because I love the outdoors and all the things that we do. Um, Cleansing and just in the outdoor aspect, I find cleansing when I hike.
Mm,
And I find it because when I'm outside walking, I'm breathing in the air. I'm exhaling, like I'm inhaling and exhaling and taking those deep breaths. And
mm,
when I first started hiking, I didn't realize that the process of inhaling and exhaling was actually opening me up. I could feel my lungs
mm,
clear. I could feel my allergies disappearing. It was like it's a natural cleansing. And
yeah.
then I think about when I get to the top of the waterfall. I love
Mm,
waterfalls. Everybody in the group knows that Jennifer is the crazy leader who is going to try to climb the waterfall. But I love the waterfall because when I get to a point in the waterfall where I can put my feet in the water, and I can just take my hands
mm,
and I literally give myself a cleansing ceremony. I take the time to let the water do what it does. Water is
okay.
so powerful. Water is
Absolutely.
healing. And I recall a hike I went on with my niece. I took her on a hike, and it was our first hike. And we went up the mountain and we found the waterfall. But at the bottom of the waterfall was this pooling area.
Mm,
And it was the most amazing pooling area because normally when water pools, it gets muddy, but this water
mm,
was still clear. It was as if it was still going through the cleansing process. And I had my niece who is very in tune. I
mm,
had her come up and we got in the water. I said, just stand here. Whatever spirit tells you to do, just do that.
yeah.
For me, I wanted to put my hands in the water and let the water flow through my hands
Yeah.
clear. I let my feet stand there so I could be grounded. And
Yeah.
then there's the last aspect of outdoors that I love, the fireside chats that we have and the power of fire.
Yeah.
People see fire as this bad thing,
Yeah.
but fire is actually powerful too. You can contain fire, you can use fire for what you need. And
Yeah.
when we have these fireside chats, after we sit around and we have these conversations, I always encourage the ladies to write something down.
Yeah.
Let it be something that a goal you want to accomplish, a hurt, a trauma, or anything that you want to get rid of. Write it down on a piece of paper.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, write it down on a piece of paper and you walk up to the fire. And when you're ready to release it, when you're ready to cleanse yourself from it, put it in the fire and know that you have started the healing journey. You are cleansing yourself because once we're aware of the things that are dirty and needs to be cleansed, the next step is, okay, how do I really clean it? How do
Yeah.
I really continue this healing process?
Yeah. Beautifully, beautifully sounded. Now you guys know why I like Jennifer. You guys, if you know who I am as a spiritual life coach, I talk to you guys about this cleansing and the need to always try to go out in nature when you're feeling distraught, like something is on you and you just can't figure it out. Jennifer, you're mentioning some of the greatest elements that's been practiced for centuries, especially by Eastern medicine, the five
Mhm.
elements. You're talking about fire. You're talking about earth. You're talking about wind. You're talking about metal as well, because you have to use something to strike that fire to create that
Mhm.
fire. And you're talking about water. And all of those elements in Eastern medicine mean something, where water cleanses and washes away anything that we don't no longer belongs in our space.
Mhm.
Fire is also destroying what no longer belongs. We are releasing it and letting it return back into the atmosphere where something else in the universe can use it.
Mhm.
Now, there was a story a long time ago about how the air that we breathe in this side of the world is being taken in by trees on another side of the earth, where your hair as it goes in is exhaling on the other side of the world. And so we're all interconnected. And when we know our importance in life when it comes to the collective, we just need to just go out more and just tap into that the five elements. Now, you also said something, another thing that brought the chills. And when we talk about the chills, guys, we're talking about tapping into our intuition. And sometimes we don't know what our intuition is. So the things that Jennifer is doing creative expression, is teaching us to be quiet and to be
Mhm.
comfortable in the space of silence and stillness. And so when you were talking about going up the waterfall, you know what showed up? The song, Don't Go Chasing Waterfall.
Listen, that's one of the songs I sing whenever we're out. When I tell you, I think people have this misconception of what it means to hike and be outside. But when I
Yeah.
tell you we have a ball because we start singing songs. And as we're
Yes.
trying to make it up the side of the mountain, we're
Yes.
dancing, trying to encourage ourselves. I mean, it is literally one of the best ways to fellowship.
Yes.
Um, I think about the music, and
Yes.
music makes me happy, and dancing makes me happy.
Place
And
it.
so I love it.
Yeah, my dog is trying to get our attention, but um, so it's so beautiful, Jennifer. I want to dive a little bit into backtracking a little bit and telling us a little bit about you and how did you come to this point where your spiritual side of you is really calling to you to go out and create this nonprofit. What happened
Woo.
to Jennifer to bring Jennifer to that point where her story now becomes the healing element that's helping others?
Now you're trying to make me cry. So Jennifer's story started years ago as a young teenager, actually, as a young lady. But it wasn't until 2019, 2020 where Jennifer realized that she needed to
Oh,
be accountable for herself and the actions and the choices she made. Um, I was in a very bad relationship. Everybody says toxic, so I'm not even going to say that word because bad is bad and toxic is toxic.
mhm.
But while I was in that relationship, I became, I didn't know who I was. I didn't recognize myself anymore. Day after day, he was breaking me down. I wrote a book, I Choose Me, The Ultimate Act of Self-Love. And in that book, I described how every day, even though we were going through the process, and whenever we were out in public and people saw us, they thought we were the perfect happy couple. But every time I got back in that car to drive back home, I immediately, I I immediately felt the weight and heaviness of being somewhere I wasn't supposed to be,
Yes,
being tied to someone that I wasn't supposed to be tied to.
yes,
And every day God kept trying to tell me, are you going to leave? Are you going to leave? What you going to do? What you going to do? And I kept coming up with reasons why I wouldn't leave. And I remember the one thing he told me when we got into our first argument about another woman and something he did. He told me, nobody ever stays and fights for me. Nobody ever chooses me. So that became the anchor that was literally drowning me. I
mm,
literally stayed in that relationship because although I needed what I needed, I was still thinking more about him and what he needed
yes,
and hoping maybe one day it'll change.
yeah,
And it didn't change, it got worse.
yeah.
I was on the side of a mountain getting ready to go to a waterfall in Maine, Boston, Massachusetts. And of all the places for a text message to come through, my phone sent a text message and it was him, but he was sending me a message that was intended for the other woman.
Mm,
And as I've read it, God said, what else has to happen before you leave?
right.
The next day, when he picked me up from the airport, I got my bags that were in his car, put them in my car, and I went to the dirtiest hotel. I didn't intend to be in a dirty hotel,
Yeah.
but I left. And after that, I literally put myself in timeout. I was in a space of isolation because I was like, God, why is this happening? And God said, Jennifer, you got to start choosing you. You
Yeah.
have to make better choices. And in that year of isolation, I literally sat up in my apartment and I did nothing. I listened to God. I tuned in. I cried. I hollered. I grieved the relationship and everything else that was going on. And I gave myself space to be okay with, I made some bad choices before, but this is about me and my healing. And it
Amen.
was in that moment, actually, when I pressed send to publish the book, that is when I realized that my pain, my calling, my purpose, it was all tied to other women who needed healing,
Mm.
who needed to understand that they have a choice, that you don't have to stay broken.
Amen.
It was, and honestly, since then, God has constantly created opportunities where I meet people like you. I'm in a class now, and the class is a leadership class. And I thought it was a leadership class talking about all the things that you got to tell your coworkers and look for this and your employees. No, it was about me. And I literally was leaving class last week. And I walked up to hug my facilitator because it was the first time I walked in class and I was so overwhelmed that I couldn't do anything else. I was so full, I couldn't do anything. And I literally cried for like the first 35, 40 minutes of class. And she created that space. My classmates created that space for me. And when I walked up to give her a hug, she said, Jennifer, you invited this. You
Mm.
said yes to this. And that's going to cause you to have to purge. Today was your purging because your spiritual journey is getting even higher. And I just realized, I was like, okay, God, this really is bigger work, bigger
Yeah.
than me.
Yeah.
So it is not an easy task because it comes with the heaviness of feeling other people. I
Mm-hmm.
feel their energy and I feel what's going on. I feel their pain before I even see them.
Yeah.
I can sense something. Something is literally, like you said earlier, when you're in tune, it sits on me.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, okay, God, I don't know who this is for, but prepare me now for whatever it is that I need to give to them.
Yeah.
And then when I meet them and I see them and I feel them, I can give them what God is telling me, what Spirit says.
That's beautiful, Jennifer. I really thank you for showing up the person you are now. And we both can agree in saying thank you for the experience of the relationships that we've had. And I've
Yes.
experienced similar experience with you as you did in the context of the intensity of the trauma, not in the
And that's what
context
it is.
not in the context of the details, but in the context of how traumatic it was that we gave ourselves to someone and that person just kept taking and pulling more away. And so I can say, I hear you, I see you, and I'm here to hold space with you in any time. And you're one of my people. But one of the things that came out of this conversation that I just heard and witnessed, and everyone is witnessing, Jennifer, is that when you build that space, you're also providing support for somebody else to show up, to cry, to be vulnerable. And so that is what your nonprofit is about. One more time, tell your friends and your soon to be friends in the audience, what is the name of your nonprofit? Are you there?
As soon as you said one more time, tell, and it froze. And I was like, oh gosh, okay,
So
tell
this
what?
is
Tell the
spirit.
people.
So there's nothing wrong with my internet. This is spirit. And so what I'm trying to do is I'm going to have you say the name of your nonprofit 3 times before we're done. For this,
Okay.
so I'm saying for the second time, can you tell the audience what is the name of your nonprofit?
The name of our nonprofit is Culture Queens Outdoors. We have two departments, two areas, I would say, because not all the ladies love camping outside like I do, but we all love each other and support each other in the space of being in the arts and outdoor space.
Oh, right on. And from what I understand, and I will be participating in this next week, you have a big event coming up next week. Can you tell the
Yeah.
audience about it for me?
Okay, so this is our annual event. This is the second annual Queen's March. And the Queen's March is an idea I had actually 3 years ago when I started Culture Queens. I was talking to one of my mentors and I told her, I was like, I want to do an event where I just get to celebrate the ladies in the community that normally get overlooked. Like there are women and queens in our communities where you know their names when you hear them, but they're also the heroes and the queens that are in the community that are making an impact,
Hmm.
but their names aren't flashing across your screen or trending all the time. They're not going viral. It's it's for those women to share their creative skills. It's my way of saying, I see you, I celebrate you, I honor you.
Hey,
And we do it all through fashion,
yeah.
and it's a celebration and experience of culture. Um, the evening starts with what I call our social hour, and we have a string quartet that's going to be performing. And after the string quartet, there will be live performances. And when I tell you the performances, the age range is what I love because I want, again, it's about diversity. It's about bringing everyone together. It's about creating opportunities. We have a 4-year-old that's participating. We have an 11-year-old, a 13-year-old, a 70-year-old. Like, it doesn't matter. If you want an opportunity to showcase your skills, whatever it is, this is the
Yeah.
opportunity to do that. And the night ends with the fashion show where we have models and designers and a glam squad that is absolutely fabulous. They come together and we present a fashion show that showcases culture. This year is especially important to me because the first part of the show is opening with a designer that I knew years ago. And when I first moved to Charlotte, I couldn't walk for her because I wasn't her brand model.
Oh,
And the person that's presenting after her, I actually coached her. I was her model coach and we grew up modeling together. So for me to realize, first of all, how much older I am than everybody else, because now they're just turning 30. I'm like, wait a minute, how old were you? Um, but for her to be presenting, it's a full circle moment because she actually modeled for the designer that's opening the show, and now she has her own brand, and she too is coaching and doing things in the fashion community and sharing her culture.
right
And
on.
the students that are in the fashion show, it's all a big open, it's an amazing opportunity
Mm.
to showcase all the talent that is in Charlotte. And we have an Indian group that's coming, and they're going to do like traditional Indian dances. They're going to teach us how to tie saris if you want to learn how to tie a traditional sari. It's so many amazing things. Like, and I love talking about it because I love just imagining the faces that are going to be in the room.
Yeah,
Black and brown women, Black and brown people are going to
yeah,
be in the room, and they're going to be comfortable because they get to showcase their culture. And of
yeah.
course, it's open to everybody, but this event is highlighting the women.
Right on.
We have 3 award recipients that have been amazing in the community. One young lady does ballroom dancing with her brother. They're internationally known. They compete. They're teenagers competing against around the world against adults and couples in the ballroom dance
Right
community.
on.
Um, we have Erica Bryant, who is WSOC Charlotte TV's. She's been the face of WSOC for years. And we're honoring her because she shows, hey, we are enough to be on the
Mm.
scene. We co-anchor, we doing all the breaking stories. And then again, Tara Davis, who I just
Mhm.
absolutely love. She's opening the fashion show. She's being awarded. She's getting my Lifetime Achievement Award because for years, she has been investing in the community. She's been investing in students and anybody interested in a career in fashion. And she's a woman of faith. And she's
Mm.
just, these women deserve to be lifted up and given their flowers. So it's an
Beautiful.
amazing event. And we have DJs. So there's going to be dancing. It's all kinds of stuff.
You
Listen, we get
know,
to dance a little bit.
did you know that March is Women's History Month?
I
So,
did. And that's why I started doing it in March.
okay, so happy Women's History Month to you. Happy
Happy
Women's
Women's
Day.
History Month.
Being
I'm
March 1st.
excited.
Yeah, that is beautiful. Jennifer, we want to hear more about you, but we're going to have you back on for another Conscious Mindset chat. But we want to end this podcast with what would you like the world to know right now about who you are and what you need from us? Because it's time for us to start asking. And I'll tell you why. If you don't mind me sharing a little story.
Please
I
share.
I went on a veterans retreat, and these veterans retreat are group retreats for wounded warriors. And so, as a wounded warrior myself, I went on this retreat, and I'm in a receiving mode instead of being on the giving mode, which is difficult for us women of service. We like to give, 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 and we never receive. So for me to go on this retreat, it was to receive whatever the message was and whatever spirit wanted me to hear. And they put us all on a rope. You know, kindergarten these days, they have these kids on these long ropes walking
Mhm.
together across the street. That's what they did. They put us on a rope, and of course, me being a Jamaican, I was like, what the hell is this? I ain't no kindergarten kids. What's going on? So they're like, no talking. They started repeating every 30 minutes, no talking, keep your eyes closed. If you need help, raise your hand. So they lead us to a maze, and they walk us in different sections of the maze. And the goal was to get to the outside of the maze with your eyes closed and not talking. But if you need help, raise your hand. Well, I figured it out, and I got to the outside. Within about 5 minutes, I got to the outside. But then I got to the outside, but they didn't say no talking when you're on the outside, right? So I was like, what do we do when we're on the outside? So they quickly pulled me out, and I could now open my eyes. But it wasn't about me. It was my observation in the lesson to come. There was one person would not ask for help, and he knew he had gone around several times because he kept on touching a couple of spots that he recognized, and he would shake his head like this. And so when we had the fireside talk afterwards, he said, I wasn't going to give up because I never give up. But then he's like, oh shoot, I could have just asked for help and I would have gotten out of the maze. He was going to stay in that maze, in his trouble, in his trauma, and not ask for help. And so I want to end this conscious mindset conversation asking you, Jennifer, to tell us, what do you need from us? Because sometimes you have to raise your hand and ask for help.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Um, so many lessons in that. One being, see, I'm not supposed to be crying. One being,
No.
I'm I'm like you, I'm always the giver, giver, giver. So being able to come back and be the receiver and ask for help is one of the hardest things for me as a woman to do because I'm used to having to fix it for everybody else.
Yes.
So first, thank you for listening to Spirit and letting that, because that's clearly what I need today, because now I can't stop the emotions.
Yeah.
They're beautiful emotions. It's not sadness.
Yeah.
It's realizing that one, Spirit God has heard my plea, He's heard my cry, and He's now saying, Jennifer, here's the opportunity. You said you need help. You asked me to help you. And now I have to step up and say, okay, here we are. Let's be a big girl. Jennifer needs help.
Yes.
The culture queens right now, we are looking for land. We are looking for a home. So we need an office space. We need land. We need funding. We need help with building a website because our website needs, we need, and my thing is everything I need is to make sure the culture queens and the ladies attached to the group are okay.
Mm-hmm.
We are growing. So yes, we need funding. We need funding so we can secure land, so we can have an office, so we can have an actual space where if there is a lady, a sister in need,
Yeah.
she can call me up and I say, no, meet me over here. And we can have our own private fireside chats or conversations. However, if we need to go sit by the water, we can
Yeah.
do that. So that's our need. We need
Mm.
funding and we definitely need space. And we need, I want some land. We need some land so we can
Hey.
create retreat.
Yes.
So thank you for asking for that. Woo,
It is done. It is done.
it is
So
done.
let me explain to you about spirit and energy. God says, start with a vision, make it plain so that those who may hear it may not tarry. They may not just sit and listen, but they will run. So make the vision, make it plain so that those who may hear may not tarry, but run to bring that vision into manifestation. And so you've just made that vision clear to us. And those who are listening, if you would like to be a philanthropist and help out Jennifer, and for the third and final time in this podcast, what is the name of your nonprofit, Jennifer?
We are the Culture Queens Outdoors.
So if you want to help the Culture Queens Outdoors, or the Culture Queens as she calls it, with the two departments, please reach out to Jennifer. And if you don't know it, I will provide that information below in the chat or in the comments as it goes across the screen. But thank you so much for listening to us. And Jennifer, thank you for coming on. And I look forward to participating in your beautiful event on the 6th.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. It means the world to me to be connected to like-minded people. And when I see you, I have to tell you why our connection is even more powerful to me, because you are literally the embodiment of my life coach, someone dear to me who I lost a few years ago. So to see your face, it's like, okay, we're back.
Yeah, you gotta be careful with that because spirit tends to walk in through me and talk through me. So sometimes I
You've
make
been heard the whole, I promise you, from the first time I heard your voice, I literally came off when we were in class doing intros. I was like, wait, let me see who this is. And then when I saw you, I was like, there's no way this is happening. So when I see you,
yes.
just know that I appreciate you, and I thank you for sharing your space again. The Culture Queens, we thank you. We look forward to seeing you and enjoying March the 6th with you, because we're going to celebrate you as well. It's a celebration of life, of loving and helping others find the freedom and the clarity they need to live lives of purpose.
Amen. So thank you, Jennifer, and everyone. We'll see you next time on a Conscious Mindset Chat with Aletha. Take care, Jennifer.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.